Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. We're going to be replacing our front brake pads and I will show you how you can do yours. Okay, so the things that we will be needing. Number one, of course, your brand new brake pads. These ones are specifically from POWERSTOP. These are what? Evolution Plus. As you can see here, you got your wire brush here. You've got your brake lubricant, something to push the piston with, some hooks for our caliper, and in our case, a 12mm wrench here. And of course, don't forget our brake cleaner. And if you're working in the dark, some of our lighting. All right, let's get started. Okay, so first things first, of course, you have to take off your wheel. Otherwise, you won't be able to access this. We got two bolts, one down here and one up here. This is where we're going to be using our 12mm. Knock him loose. For the purpose of today's video, you don't have to have your steering wheel turned. You can do it straight, but in order to show it to the camera, we have to have our wheels turned. So first thing you can do, put our 12mm here, and of course lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So since we're on the opposite side, it's gonna be going that way. There we go, knocked it loose. Let's do the one at the bottom. There we go. With both of it loose, it'll be easy to remove our caliper bolts. Now I like doing, if you have a power tool, go for it, but let's say you're just someone at home who's doing this, you can just do it by hand real quick, one and done, like so. Okay, so this is where our hook will come in. This is where our hook will come in. We're gonna be hooking this to our strut right here. That way it won't be pulling onto our brake line, which can cause leaks, and leaks are no good, especially for brakes. Now that that's loose, we just gotta wiggle it up and down. It should come off relatively easy, like what's happening right now. If it feels like it's stuck and won't even move and you have to use a pry bar, then there's a high chance that your calipers are seized. Which means you either have to release the pressure from our valve stem here, or you have to open up your brake master cylinder. Okay. Give it a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Just be careful not to suddenly pull it off because it's gonna pull on our brake line. Okay, now that it's off, you can either put it safely on top here, or you can use the hook like so and hang it onto our control arm, just like that. Okay, let's bring it closer here, kind of like that. Oh, I know it's dark, but let's take a look. Light source, so it is hooked on to our upper control arm, so it's not going to be pulling onto the brake line here. Okay, now that that's done, of course we gotta have our light here. We'll take off the old pads. Ooh, came off easy, just like that. So make sure that this metal piece here is on the inside of the vehicle. Okay, on the inside of the vehicle. You don't want it here on the other side. You want it on the inside of the vehicle. just like that, just like that. So these are my old pads, and as you can see, they still have a lot of life left. These are Hawk HP Plus, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. I replaced it maybe some years back, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago now. But the thing is with these guys is that they make so much dust. Now, a friend recommended these POWERSTOP ceramic, which are supposedly just as good and is very clean, so no dust. But these Hawks are amazing. They break, they stop the vehicle really well. But then again, the car gets, or the wheels get too dirty, and it just gets annoying to clean. But for now, I want to give POWERSTOP a shot. Okay, now that we have the pads out, we can take the old hardware out. One at the top, one at the bottom here. You just pop him off like that. This is where our steel brush comes in. Just whoo. Look at that dust. Just give it a quick brush here. Just so you give it a nice brush, nice cleanup before you put the new hardware in. Now for the next part, this is where our brake lubricant comes in. Now we're going to be lubricating the hardware, the new hardware from our brake pads that are going to be going on to the caliper bracket. This is where it can get a little messy, but you only do it once, you do it right. So give it a good shake. And just dab a small amount on your pinky here. I'm just gonna give it a nice lube here. And just a little bit here on top. Won't hurt. Make sure to avoid getting some lubricant on the rotors. Okay, now that that's done, we'll pop him in, we'll pop the new hardware in. Just like that. Now this new hardware is where our new pads will sit or will be sliding in and out. So once you have the hardware on, we are going to be lubricating them as well. So again, just a dab. Be good. Don't need a lot, just a dab. So now we're gonna be putting our new pads in, but before that, you guessed it, we have to lube the ears as well, and I'll show you. these parts right here, this one and this one, because these ears are going to be the ones sliding in the new hardware, and you don't want them creating heat, as it can, or it may prematurely wear your new pads. Again, the metal plate, the metal piece is going to be inside. Now, if you're wondering, that metal piece is your indicator that your brakes are running low. So as you can see here, once your pad wears out, the rotor is going to start touching that metal part, and you're going to be hearing a metal squeaking sound, and that means it is time to replace your pads. Oh, here we go. And of course, we'll do the same for the other pad on the other side. It'll only go in one way, so it's hard to make a mistake. There we go, looking nice. Now after that, you can just grab a towel and wipe off some excess grease that may have gotten on to the rotor. And that should be good. So we have our towel here. Of course, you just give it a nice wipe. Lastly, a couple more things. These bolts that go into the caliper bracket, we're going to be greasing them up as well, as they move in and out when you step on the brakes. So that's just going to help reduce the heat buildup and just cause them to move freely. Okay, now that these guys are lubed up, it is time to push back our piston just a little bit. Now when you step on the brakes, the brake fluid travels on to our brake hose here and it pushes this piston out. This piston then pushes the pad against our rotor, which stops your vehicle. Now of course, the pads that we took out are a little bit worn, so it's thinner compared to the new pads, which are thicker. So that means we're gonna need the space, so we need to push the piston back with the use of our tool here. Which reminds me, I gotta give this back to my friend. Good idea is to use the old pad to push our piston against. Whoops. Now as you tighten it, make sure to support your caliper because you don't want it, we don't want it hanging without support, and it's gonna, yeah. So as you can see here, we're pushing it back in. So you can see it slowly moving. And that should be good. You'll see the piston flushed against our caliper here. That means it's fully back on. And now we just simply slide it back. There, nice and snug once again. Okay, everything is lubed up. Just make sure we don't forget anything. So we got our ears for the pads that are lubed up. We got the new hardware lubed up. We got our sliding caliper bolt lubed up as well. And now it's just time to put it back on. You're very specific, you can add more if you like. Now that you're putting back in, it's gonna be righty tighty. I like doing it by hand first. If you have a power tool, that way you can feel the bolts snug and going in, because if you use power tools right away and if it's in a wrong angle, it can damage the threads and that'll make our job longer than it's supposed to. So as you can see there, it's going back in nicely. When putting back the caliper on, make sure that your brake line is nice and straight. You don't want it twisting, you don't want it crooked, and you don't want it leaking, of course. So take your time, no rush. Now that we can't tighten it by hand, it's time to use the 12mm again. Now when it's really tough, when it's really hard, you can't do it anymore, just give it one little push and that should be good. Okay, if you want to be very specific, see if I can post up how much torque you need, and you can use a torque wrench to torque it to spec. And that is it, folks. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. It's so easy that I'm gonna be honest with you. Setting up this camera gear, setting up my lighting, setting up the mic, making sure the audio is working. Those things are harder than actually replacing our brake pads here. So that's how easy it is, and I'm pretty sure you can do it after watching this video. Now, time to do the other side. Now, the only difference is that it'll be, of course, on the right side and not here on the driver's side. Okay, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you like the video. I'll post up the specifics down in the description, and see you on the next one. Bye-bye.